Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Radio Channel. This is your space to learn English through real, relaxed conversations. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Mark. Welcome back, guys.
Mark, can I ask you something before we start today? Why does it feel like we're recording inside a fridge today?
Okay, first of all, it's not that cold. You're just dramatic.
I'm dramatic? Mark, you're wearing a thick winter jacket inside the studio. We're inside a building.
That's called preparation, Sarah. I like to be ready for anything. Plus, I like atmosphere. A cold room keeps you awake.
You like exaggeration.
Same thing. But honestly, I think it's just the building. The heating hasn't been working right all week.
Well, I'm freezing. But honestly, the weather today outside is kind of gray. It's very quiet. The sky is just flat.
Yeah, it's one of those slow days, and I feel like that matches today's topic perfectly.
Exactly. Because today we're talking about something that isn't loud. It isn't obvious. You can't see it on someone's face right away.
No, you can't. It is something people carry inside, very quietly.
Yes. Today's topic is self-worth.
And more specifically, how easily our self-worth gets connected to what other people think about us, how we let outside voices control our inside feelings.
Because let's be real, most people know this feeling, even if they don't talk about it.
Wanting approval? Yeah, that's very human. Everyone wants to know they're doing a good job.
No one is completely free from it. Even the most confident people in the world still have moments where they wonder, did I do that right? Do they like me?
Absolutely. You know how it starts. It's always something small, one strange message.
And suddenly, your brain starts overthinking everything.
Exactly. You read one text message, maybe it just says, okay, with a period at the end instead of an exclamation mark, and then you spend the next 2 days analyzing it.
2 days? That's optimistic, Mark.
Okay, fine. 3 days, minimum. You sit there looking at your phone thinking, are they mad at me? Did I say something wrong yesterday? Why didn't they send a smiley face?
It's funny because it sounds silly when we say it out loud, but in the moment, your heart actually beats faster. You feel a real drop in your mood, and all because of a tiny piece of punctuation in a text message.
Right, because in that split second, your value feels like it is resting in the hands of the person who sent that message.
So let's get personal for a second. For you, Mark, when did this topic really become real? When did you notice that you were tying your self-worth to something outside of yourself?
Honestly, it was a few years ago during a time when my work situation felt very unstable.
What do you mean? Set the scene for us.
Well, the economy wasn't great at the time. Companies everywhere were cutting costs, letting people go, and everyone around me at the office was incredibly worried. You could feel the tension in the air every single day.
Even if you're not directly affected, like even if your boss hasn't said anything to you, you still feel that pressure, right?
Exactly. It's contagious. And I noticed something happening to my behavior. I started trying way harder than usual, but not in a healthy way.
In what way? Answering emails faster? Doing more tasks that weren't even my job? Making sure I was always available, even on weekends? If my phone buzzed at 10 p.m., I would jump up to reply. I was trying to make myself completely indispensable.
Wait, pause right there. Indispensable. That's a great word, but maybe a bit heavy for some of our listeners. What exactly does that mean?
Ah, good catch. So if something or someone is indispensable, it means they are absolutely necessary. You cannot get rid of them. If a company gets rid of an indispensable employee, the company will struggle to survive. I wanted to be so important that they couldn't afford to fire me.
Like you were trying to prove your value every single second of the day.
Yes, like if I worked hard enough, I could secure my place. I was basically running on fear.
That makes sense, but it sounds absolutely exhausting, living in that state of stress constantly.
It was exhausting. I wasn't sleeping well. I wasn't eating well. But later, when the situation calmed down, I realized something much deeper about myself.
What did you realize?
I wasn't just afraid of losing my paycheck or my financial stability. I mean, yes, money is important, but that wasn't the core issue.
You were afraid of losing your sense of value as a person?
Exactly. I had built my entire identity around being the hard worker, the guy who gets things done. Like, if my role disappeared, maybe I mattered less in the world. I didn't know who Mark was without that job title.
That's so powerful, because sometimes work becomes much more than just a place you go to earn money.
It becomes your entire identity.
Yes, it becomes proof that you matter, proof that you exist and have a purpose. And when that is threatened, it feels like your actual survival is threatened.
Exactly. But what about you, Sarah? When did you first notice this pattern in your own life? Where was your self-worth hiding?
For me, it wasn't about work. It showed up heavily in social situations, friendships, parties, even just casual coffee dates.
How so? Give me an example.
Well, I used to notice that I would leave social events feeling incredibly tired, just totally drained.
Like not physically tired from standing up or dancing?
No, not physical at all, emotionally tired, like my brain had run a marathon. And I didn't understand at first. I thought I was just hanging out with friends. Why do I feel like I need to sleep for a week?
And then, when did the light bulb go off?
Then I realized I was trying way too hard to be liked by every single person in the room. I was acting like a total chameleon.
Okay, I'm throwing the flag on that one. Chameleon. We all know it's a lizard that changes colors, but what does it mean when you call a person a chameleon?
Good point. When you call a person a chameleon in a social sense, it means they change their personality, their opinions, or their behavior to match whoever they're talking to. If I was talking to someone who loved sports, suddenly I loved sports. If I was talking to someone quiet, I became quiet. I was changing my colors to blend in and be accepted.
Wow. So what did that actually look like in a conversation?
Agreeing quickly with whatever they said, laughing loudly at jokes that weren't even funny, constantly reading the room to make sure everyone else felt comfortable, completely ignoring how I felt.
So basically, you were providing emotional customer service to your friends.
Yes, exactly that. Hello, how can I make your experience with Sarah 5 stars today? That is exactly what it felt like.
And what happened afterwards, when you finally got in your car to go home?
Oh, that's when the hypervigilance kicked in.
Hold on, big word alert. Hypervigilance. Break that down for our listeners.
Right, so vigilance means keeping careful watch for possible danger. Hyper means extremely or excessively. So hypervigilance is a state of being constantly, intensely on guard. In my case, my brain was scanning every memory of the party, looking for mistakes I might have made.
Oh no, I know exactly where this is going.
I would replay everything in my head like a movie. Did I talk too much? Was I awkward? Did that joke I made sound weird? Did someone look at me funny when I spilled my drink?
That's classic overthinking. It's like torturing yourself for no reason.
Yes, I was constantly second-guessing myself.
Which basically means doubting yourself after the moment is already over and you can't change it.
Exactly. And the hardest part was the realization that came after all that overthinking,
Which was?
that I wasn't actually being myself.
No, you were performing a little script.
Yes, I was an actor playing the role of Sarah, the perfect friend. And because of that, my self-worth became entirely connected to whether or not they clapped at the end of the performance. If they liked me, I was valuable. If someone seemed bored, I felt completely worthless.
So let's look at this. My self-worth became connected to being useful at work.
And mine became connected to being liked at parties.
Different situations, completely different environments, but the exact same pattern.
Exactly.
And that's why this topic matters so much for anyone learning English or just living life.
Because self-worth can attach itself to almost anything. It's incredibly sneaky.
Work, relationships, success, the amount of money in your bank account.
Your appearance, your productivity, whether your house is clean, approval from your parents, it never ends.
So let's stop and ask a very simple but fundamental question. Why does approval feel so powerful? Why do human beings crave it so much?
I think the easiest answer is because it feels good.
Very, very good.
It feels safe, like everything is okay. When someone says, "Good job, Mark," my brain immediately relaxes.
Right. It's like your brain takes a deep breath and says, relax, you're accepted by the tribe. You are safe from the wolves.
Exactly. It's almost primitive.
But what happens when you don't get that approval? What happens when it's just silence?
When there's silence, everything feels uncertain. You feel entirely exposed.
So people start depending on that outside noise. They start needing someone to say, good job, just to feel normal.
Yes, it stops being a bonus and it becomes a crutch. It becomes emotional support.
Almost like a bad habit.
Or even an addiction. You start chasing the like button. You start chasing the thank you.
Because it doesn't just feel nice anymore, it feels necessary for your survival.
Especially when you already doubt yourself. If your internal voice is already mean to you, you desperately need the external voices to be nice.
Then approval feels like oxygen. If you don't get it, you feel like you are suffocating.
But the real problem is, it doesn't last. The feeling of being praised fades away so fast.
Exactly. It gives you short-term comfort. You feel great for about an hour.
But it provides absolutely zero long-term stability. The next morning, you wake up empty again, needing another compliment to fill the tank.
So, if outside approval is just short-term comfort, what is real self-worth? Let's define what we are actually aiming for here.
For me, real self-worth is believing you matter, even when absolutely nobody is telling you that.
Yes, when there's no praise, no attention, no gold stars, no likes on your social media post.
And you still feel deeply okay inside. You sit alone in an empty room and you don't feel like you are lacking anything. You recognize your intrinsic value.
Hold on, let's catch that word. Intrinsic. What does that mean in this context?
Ah, right. Intrinsic means belonging naturally to something, essential, built in. If you have intrinsic value, it means you are valuable just because you are a human being who breathes and exists. Not because of what you do, but just because you are.
I love that. Built-in value. And we need to point out that this is very different from confidence. People mix those two up all the time.
They do, and they are very different things.
How would you explain the difference?
Well, I think confidence is about your abilities. It's about what you can do. For example, I am confident in my ability to edit an audio file for this podcast. I have done it 1,000 times. I have high confidence in that skill.
Right. Confidence says, I can do this.
But self-worth is entirely about who you are. It has nothing to do with skills.
Self-worth says, even if I fail at doing this, even if I ruin the audio file entirely, I'm still a good person and I am still okay.
Exactly. Confidence can be destroyed. If I break my arm and can't use a computer, my confidence in editing goes down to zero, but my self-worth shouldn't change at all.
There's also self-esteem, which usually sits right in the middle. Self-esteem is how you evaluate yourself in comparison to the world, but self-worth is the foundation of the house. If the foundation is cracked, the whole house is going to shake when the wind blows.
And when self-worth is weak, when that foundation is cracked, certain very specific habits start to appear in our daily lives.
Let's talk about those habits. How can someone listening right now tell if their self-worth is a little shaky?
Well, the biggest one is what you talked about earlier, people-pleasing.
Yes. Saying yes to things when your brain and your heart are screaming no.
You agree to take on extra work, or you agree to go to a dinner you don't want to go to just because you're terrified they'll be mad at you if you set a boundary.
Or tying your value entirely to your productivity, the belief that a day is only good if you checked off 20 things on your to-do list.
Or accepting disrespect. This is a huge one in relationships. If you don't value yourself, you'll let other people treat you poorly, because deep down, a dark part of you thinks you deserve it.
Or constantly apologizing. Have you ever noticed people who say, "I'm sorry," when someone else bumps into them?
Yes, it's like they're apologizing for merely taking up space in the world.
All of these habits push you to look outside yourself for permission to exist comfortably.
Which makes your internal peace incredibly unstable. You hand the remote control to your emotions to the rest of the world.
So, we've diagnosed the problem, we know what it looks like, and we know how exhausting it is. The big question is, how do we rebuild self-worth? How do we fix the foundation?
I think the biggest mistake people make is trying to fix it overnight. You can't just look in the mirror and shout, "I love myself," and expect 30 years of bad habits to disappear.
No, affirmations don't work if your brain knows you are lying.
Exactly. So you have to start small. The very first step is to start keeping promises to yourself.
I love this concept. Explain how that works.
Self-worth is essentially self-trust. Think about how you build trust with a friend. If they say they're going to meet you at 5 p.m. and they show up at 5 p.m. every time, you trust them.
Right.
But if you say to yourself, "I'm going to wake up at 7 a.m. and go for a walk," and then you hit snooze 5 times and stay in bed, you just broke a promise to yourself. You taught your brain that your own word means nothing.
Wow, that is deeply confronting. If you say you'll do something, do it.
Yes, even tiny things. "I'm going to drink a glass of water right now." Then drink it. That builds autonomy and trust.
Okay, pause. Autonomy. Let's define that for our listeners.
Autonomy means independence or self-government. It's the ability to make your own choices and direct your own life without being controlled by outside forces. By keeping promises to yourself, you're proving your autonomy. You are in charge of you.
That makes total sense. Every kept promise is a brick in the foundation of your self-worth.
What's another step people can take, Sarah?
I think a massive one is to stop over-explaining everything you do.
Oh, I am guilty of this.
We all are. When you have low self-worth, you feel like you need a court order and a lawyer to justify your choices. If you decline an invitation, you don't just say, "I can't make it." You give a 10-minute speech about how busy your week is, how your dog is sick, how your car needs fixing.
Because you're trying to manage their reaction. You want to make sure they're not mad.
Exactly. But the truth is, not every decision needs approval. "No thank you" is a complete sentence. You don't owe anyone an essay about your life choices.
That takes practice.
It does. And that leads to my next point. You have to learn to sit with discomfort.
What do you mean by sit with it?
When you set a boundary or when you say no, you're going to feel anxious. Your brain is going to panic. It's going to feel like you did something terrible. But just because something feels uncomfortable
Doesn't mean it's wrong or dangerous.
exactly. Your brain is just experiencing withdrawals from not getting its usual dose of people-pleasing. You literally have to sit on your couch, feel the anxiety buzzing in your chest, and say, "I'm uncomfortable right now, and that is completely fine. I am safe."
That is such a vital skill, building a tolerance for the uncomfortable emotions instead of running away from them.
And maybe the most important thing of all, and this is a daily practice,
Speak to yourself with respect.
yes, pay attention to the voice inside your head. Would you talk to your best friend the way you talk to yourself when you drop a glass or make a mistake at work?
Usually no. The inner voice can be incredibly vicious. It says things like, "You're so stupid. You always ruin everything."
We need to replace that harsh criticism with understanding. If you make a mistake, say, "Well, that didn't go as planned, but I was trying my best with the information I had."
It's about extending grace to yourself.
So, if we zoom out and look at the big picture we painted today, the goal isn't to become a cold robot who never cares what anyone thinks.
No, not at all. Caring about other people is part of being a good community member. The goal is to stop depending on what they think for your own emotional survival.
Because your worth shouldn't change based on someone's opinion. Opinions change like the wind. One day someone likes you, the next day they're busy and they don't text back.
If you attach your value to the wind, you're going to be blown all over the place. Your self-worth needs a much more stable place than that.
It needs to live entirely inside of you.
So maybe this is the absolute simplest way to say it, wrapping everything up into one thought.
Let's hear it.
Self-worth is built in the dark. It's built when things aren't perfect, when you've messed up, when nobody's clapping for you.
And you still decide to stay on your own side. You don't abandon yourself just because the world is quiet.
I really like that. Stay on your own side. That's a great phrase to take away from today.
Me too. It's a lifelong practice, but it's the most important work we can do.
Well, I think the studio is actually starting to warm up a little bit, or maybe it's just from all this deep conversation.
Probably the conversation. You can take the winter jacket off now, Mark. You've survived.
I think I'll keep it on, just in case.
All right, you do you. That is it for today's episode, guys.
We really hope this extended chat gave you something valuable to think about and maybe gave you a little boost to start keeping those small promises to yourself today.
As always, you can find transcripts of this episode on our website to review the vocabulary we covered. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Mark.
And this is the English Radio Channel.
Take care of yourselves. See you next time.